Okay, we're recording now.
Well, the PowerPoint that we have is essentially the same PowerPoint plus a few changes. So we thought we would just really highlight some of the changes, updates, and just kind of not spend, an hour and a half going through the same PowerPoint, but really more or less hit some of the new things or things that now that we know for sure dates and whatnot, we can start talking about things in more specifics than we have in the past.
I just typed in the chat, if somebody can give me sharing rights, I can pull it up.
Yep, I'm about to.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Oh, I just saw your comment. What is this, our first online meeting?
Well, I'm just managing Zoom for 14 Girl Scouts and like Blackboard for large numbers. Well, not large numbers, but
We've been doing this for a year and it's like we don't know what we're doing.
It's like that even in our staff meetings. We've been doing the same thing for every week for almost a year now, and there's something inevitably just doesn't work the way it's supposed to. Here we go.
Can you see it?
Yep.
Okay.
There is a lot. The county has a lot out, and this is they really did encourage us to stick to kind of their PowerPoint and just edit. Just I think to make sure that schools and PTAs and when there you go. When these meetings do happen, at least there's some similarities and whatnot. I think now that there is a reality, the next slide, I think we go over the official dates. Oh, there we are. It is super, super important to start talking to your kids if they are going to be returning in the building about, just it's going to be a little different. There's going to be a new set of rules, but I think most of the kids are probably expecting that or used to it at this point. They're going to have to wear a mask. The mask piece is the big one. I know in our experience, Leslie, bringing kids in for the WIDA testing over the last couple of weeks, we've really been able to, it's been eye-opening as to how much detail we're going to have to go into certain things with the kiddos. So that actually was a huge benefit to have, some groups of kids in the building and getting them to walk down the halls and just see how they respond to dots on the floor, basically around the entire building at 6 or 7 feet apart. And it really did go, oh my goodness, thank God that kindergarten is coming in and we have 2 weeks to work with those kiddos before there's any other distractions in the building. So this is the schedule. Next week, the 16th. Where do you want to start, Les?
Sorry, I thought you were done with that slide. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So our schedule. So on the 16th, we're going to start. That's when our preschool students return back in the building on the 16th there, and that is also going to begin the start of our new bell schedule and our new schedule for the groups. And rather than originally we were going to phase in some of the schedule changes by group. But we really felt like, you know what, let's just rip the Band-Aid off and find out everything that doesn't work before the majority of the kids get into the building. So on the 16th, the new bell schedule will start, which for our pre-K all the way up to 5th grade is 9 o'clock to 3:30. We actually lost 15 minutes there in the morning of the day, but it's 9 to 3:30. And then our preschoolers go a little bit later in the day. Our AM preschool is 9:45 to 4:15, 4:30?
To 1. Morning.
Oh, to 1. And then 1 to 4:15, because we have AM and PM preschool. And our PAC students go from 9:45 to 4:15, 4:30. But we're going to start all of our new schedules on the 16th. It is going to be concurrent instruction, and we've started having some conversations with our teachers, and we have a whole bunch of different training, and for our upper grades haven't gone through any of it yet because they were always the last group to get started. We're going to be doing some review next week. Kindergarten is going to be starting in the building, and they're going to be teaching from their classrooms with the new technology. Just kind of getting used to it and how and what it might look like for that first day on the 16th. We fully expect that it will be a little different, and the first couple weeks for any grade level are going to be a learning experience, a big learning curve, especially for the teachers. So if things get a little goofy, if a teacher asked the virtual group to, hey, go to Imagine Learning for a little bit, or to go to ST Math for a little bit, or to be working on their own, it's primarily probably because they're getting used to either routines in the building or the technology isn't necessarily working the way they thought it was going to, and it's just working through some of those bugs. So we're anticipating at least a couple weeks of kind of getting the kinks out, I guess. Our schedules, we will have a group, our first group, which will be in school Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And then our second group is Thursday and Fridays. Our online group is part of all those classrooms, and they kind of switch A and B. We are really working hard to, at least in math and language arts, have two instructors online. So there's one in school and one online at all times, and in the two core subject areas for sure. That way we have someone, that is working or focusing pretty much all on our virtual kids while we're doing also attending to the in-person kids, because we don't want to, we fully expect that we're going to lose a little bit of instruction time during this change, but we want it to be as minimal as possible here.
It's all kind of redundant.
Yeah. I think I've read this enough that I'm almost paraphrasing as we go here. So building protocols, we have our custodial staff has gone through a pretty extensive training. They will be sanitizing throughout the day. They will be sanitizing classrooms every single night. Our teachers we've already suggested that, they're built into their day where the kids are taking responsible for their own areas and cleaning a couple times throughout the day, just to, especially the upper grade kids will probably be eating lunch in their classrooms, but just to make sure that, we are keeping tables, desks, chairs, everything as clean as we can throughout the day. We are actually looking into also with the custodial staff getting a fogger or mister. It's kind of, there's a couple different names for them, but I guess a fogger is the more recent one, where the custodians will go in and fog each room at night as well. But we're working through that. They cost about $800 to $1,000, and we're working through facilities to I think move in that direction and have one at North Springfield, maybe two. If I can con them into giving us an extra one. So K2 will be eating in the cafeteria. We'll have one student per table. They'll all be facing in the same direction. 3 through 5 will eat in their classrooms. It's all staggered. Each grade level will come together because we really don't have any one grade level with more than 30 or 31.
I'm going to pull up a picture. Keep talking.
Oh, okay, go. The cafeteria, though, being so big with only, like, let's say one kindergartner at each table, it's going to feel really like, huge room. So we are actually planning on, probably putting some music on for the kids and just trying to make it as comfortable as possible, just because they're going to have a whole big table all to themselves. And it'll be interesting to see how it goes, but they all have assigned seats. The cafeteria staff, actually, if you look at closely on the middle table, you see the X. Oh, look at that. Thank you, Leslie. There is an X on each seat that the students will have to sit at. So they're all
Basically go up this row here, like where my arrow is, and then over here. The center seat you can't really see.
Yeah. So they all face the same direction.
They
So
face that wall, yeah.
Yeah. So it'll be, everybody's got an assigned seat, as I started to say, and the cafeteria staff and whoever's helping in the cafeteria at the time will bring lunches to the students that need lunches. And that'll happen for kindergarten, first and second grade. In between, third graders will come down at a designated time and go through the line and go back to class. Same with fourth and fifth.
Can you see that library slide now?
Hmm?
Is it still the picture?
Oh, it's the library slide.
Okay.
We are going to, we'll start library. We're working through some guidelines. There is a little bin also outside the main entrance. We're working on getting some vinyl stickers to put on it to designate and kind of decorate it up a little bit. But you can certainly drop off library books at any time in there, and we'll begin checking that for our virtual kids. But we are going to start getting the library back open again. The books need to sit for a 7-day period before they're reshelved or rehanded out. So kids will, they'll use the online checkout system and put those requests in, and Miss Madigan will go ahead and sort through that. But we are getting geared up to open the library or access to the library books again. At the current moment, this is kind of a hot topic for the principals because we really want the kids to be able to play at recess to some extent. But the playground equipment at the moment, while kids are in school, will not be able to use it. Hopefully that'll change relatively soon. So we're going to have to kind of, it's going to be a lot of really guiding and teaching kids how to safely play either on the field or on the blacktop in the soccer pitch during recess. So we'll have to walk them through some of that. I think we are going to be able to do some balls and stuff like that. We just have to work through the specifics of how to get it, how do we clean them? How do we have them set aside for long enough? Or how do we ensure that it's one student using it? We could probably get away with a soccer ball on the field, but we got to work through some of that stuff. And Miss Metz she's gotten a lot of new regulations regarding PE. So we'll hopefully be able to let more materials out for recess and PE as we go here. Yep, store materials, backpacks, everything will be kept on at their desks. We won't be using the cubbies at all. I think we have a picture.
I can pull up, let me pull up. I took some pictures yesterday of classrooms. I can talk through. Let me just pull them up.
Now, our classroom, all of our classrooms are set up this way. Ms. Malkowski and I went actually through and permanently borrowed all the teachers' bookshelves. So every classroom is set up so each student has their own desk, and then in this class, so for instance, the Tuesday, Wednesday, there'll be coverings over half of the bookshelf. So the Monday, Tuesday kid or Tuesday, Wednesday kids may have the top shelf, and the covering will cover up the materials of the Thursday, Friday student on the bottom. And then at the end of the day on Wednesday, the Tuesday, Tuesday, I'm getting confusing myself. Tuesday, Wednesday student will cover up their stuff. And then on Thursday, when that other student comes in, their stuff will be down at the bottom and ready to go. But we felt like we needed to give students their own space if we're going to expect them to really be sitting in the same area without moving around like they normally do in the classroom. So we've kind of built their own little office per se.
So this too, just so you can see, this is one of our largest, this is a second grade classroom. It's one of our largest groups. So most classes actually don't have this many desks, but we wanted you guys to see what it looks like at max capacity. And like these little containers here, those would be for the kids on Tuesday, Wednesday, and the teacher's going to switch them out. And a new set will be coming for the next 2 days, so because they can't share materials. Back here, you can kind of see the horseshoe table. This is what small group will look like, a little different, but creative. They do have a shield here. And then these desks allow the teacher to pull 2 people at once to a small group. And that helps maintain that 6 feet. So from the teacher to where the student's chair is 6 feet on both sides. And then these 2 students would be 6 feet apart. And then we also have a kindergarten room because kindergartners need a little more space. Let me just find which way it is. Sorry, hold on. There they are.
There we go.
Kindergarten looks a little different. They need more space, obviously, and they have a lot more manipulatives. This is Miss Nealon's room. So if your kid's in Miss Nealon's class, this is what it looks like. So they all have a little container with their manipulatives and supplies. She actually has tissues and hand sanitizer for each kid. We have all those supplies for the classrooms as well. And then you can kind of see on the lines here, these are her little dots. So as they line up to transition throughout the building, they know what 6 feet looks like. All right.
Okay. Health room, we will have a school health aide, hopefully it'll be Miss Barrage. She has been actually moved, she's been administering vaccines the last month, but we're hoping that she will be back on the 16th once students return. The protocols change a little bit and teachers are being asked and they're actually going through a training as part of their return to school readiness on just taking care of some of the more simple things, Band-Aids and that kind of thing within the classroom. If it's more serious where there's, medication involved or a bump to the head at recess or, a cut, bloody nose that's not stopping, that kind of thing, then students would go to the health clinic. And then if it's a COVID symptom, then we have the care room, formerly known as the isolation room, which I may refer to just because it was droned into my head when we were setting them up. But we have care rooms set up at the very end of the hall between preschool and kindergarten, first grade. And then we have another one set up in the 3rd grade hall so that if we do have students that are symptomatic of COVID, type symptoms, temperature, bad cough, all of a sudden aches, that kind of thing, we're not walking them through the entire building, but we are going to one of the closest care rooms. We'll take temperatures, go through all of our protocols, and then, obviously be calling parents to, come pick up. And then we have some follow-up paperwork that needs to be filed in those cases for contact tracing and that piece of it. But we are ready. We had preschoolers when we had preschool back up until December. We did use the care room, I think 3 or 4 times while they were in, and it went pretty smooth. We have multiple rooms so that they are all cleaned by the custodial staff. It marks the last cleaning time. It's very organized, and we're really happy how that came out because we feel like we can keep everybody pretty safe and keep things from spreading. The 5 strategies, I think everybody's heard about these, especially if you've been watching our school board. Masks are mandatory. We'll be cleaning and disinfecting throughout the day and that as well as every night. I think they did talk of, did I see augers in there? Maybe not. Contact tracing with the health department. There's a whole county protocol and website and a link that I have to enter a ton of data on that piece of it. And they keep track of everything. Social distancing. We have all the halls marked. Teachers have done a great job in their classrooms. The cafeteria is marked. And then hygiene and, keeping a mask on, blowing their nose, being careful with how they blow their nose, sneeze, cough, that kind of thing. We feel like we're as ready as we're going to be. And, we've had a couple times in the last few weeks through testing or just staff being in the building, we've had upwards of 100 people in the building, and it felt very comfortable, and everybody is being extremely respectful of the the procedures and the regulations that have been put in place. We talked a little bit about that, the mitigation strategies. There is a team there are multiple teams going around the county to make sure every school they spot check once a week, looking to make sure all the protocols are being followed, social distancing, masks. If I have a classroom and Miss Malkowski comes into my classroom to say work with 2 students, any adult that actually comes into a room to work with students there's a sign up sheet on the front of the door that they have to fill out both their time in and time out, so that if for any case where a student or a teacher either comes down with COVID or shows symptoms, it helps us contact trace and know exactly who's been in that room all week long, every day. So this is a big one. We had a lot of people. I know some of the teachers have been reaching out to families that haven't filled it out yet. It is through the parent view in your SIS account. And we will send it home in a paper copy after that first day, but we have to have the health screening commitment form filled out. So if you could log into your parent view in the SIS and just fill that out. Basically what it says is you're making a promise as a family and to the community that, if your son or daughter is not feeling well, has a temperature, has a runny nose, we're going to agree to keep them home for the day or until you get them checked out, and just not send our kiddos sick to school. If they're immune, even if it's not COVID, if they are sick, they'll have a compromised immune system, and it would be easier for them to catch COVID as well. So.
And we sent a couple days ago, there's a video that has a YouTube link that shows you how to do this. If you log into Parent View, if you haven't filled it out yet, it automatically pops up. It's the first thing that pops up when you log into Parent View. So just if you could do it online, that helps save our front office a lot of scanning and having to upload it in SIS, because we do have to put it in SIS no matter what.
Temperature checks. We no longer have to do temperature checks. We will do them, of course, if somebody's not feeling well, but it's no longer required to come in the building. We were temperature checking adults that came in, and we had anybody returned prior to, we took temperature checks for every single student and person that came in, and CDC requirements do not mandate temperature checks. They were between the thermometers not working that well in the cold, and the time, just the reliability of that, it was proving to be not a reliable source. So we are no longer doing the temperature checks, which is new.
I think the new part is this page.
Yeah, they started to talk about types of masks, And, you know, the big one is the one ply masks, or the masks that have that small, you know, there's some athletic masks now that are being marketed that have like a vent to kind of regulate temperature. And they're saying though, the like the fishing type single ply masks or the vented masks are not, any mask that has an opening around the face or, um, are not CDC, recommended. So if a student comes in, we have plenty of masks. So if a student comes in and either their mask doesn't fit, or maybe one of the bands around the ear breaks, or, you know, it's one of the ones that, you know, is not necessarily recommended, it's one ply. We have masks that we will certainly hand out and make sure that they're as safe as they can be, as both ways, emitting or receiving. Bus schedules should start to come out. Kindergarten should be out next week, pretty shortly. You know, this is the busing and transportation capacity is a big indicator to why we needed the, how many kids were requesting to come back in person, uh, and and why we couldn't leave that kind of as an open first come first serve, because of the, just trying to get bus stops and a number of buses. That's a huge reason, for really trying to figure that out and having a limit to where we can, that and room capacity. Um, but I think we're in pretty good shape. I know we've had a number of requests where parents still wanted to keep their children home, and we're working with those families to make sure that they're comfortable, and, you know, that it works out for them. We talked about the bell schedule starting the 16th. Arrival and dismissal, kindergarten, pre-K, we're going to use door 12 by the cafeteria. We still do have the SRS program, the SAC program that is in our building. So we're going to bring walkers when you come up all the way around, the bus loop, and bring them in by the cafeteria, so that it's easier to kind of funnel them, get hand sanitizer and just get them going in the right spot. And it also kind of keeps them separate from the SRS program. Walkers, will, as we get transition to the older kids, we'll probably go walkers back to door 11, bus riders to 12, as we always have, and kiss and ride. We're going to use door 2 because we do not want, the school age kids walking through preschool. So we're going to bring kids out door 2 and then walk them around to the bus loop that way. We'll be letting kids in at 8:45 for a 9 o'clock start. They'll be coming in and going straight to their classrooms. They will not be going to the cafeteria for breakfast. Breakfast will be brought to the rooms for any student that would like it. And so we're not having them sit in large areas like normally we'd go to the gym and just wait, or we'd go to the cafeteria, get breakfast. They'll go right to their classrooms in the morning. And then dismissal will begin at 3:30.
And then too, if I just wanted to add to that, because yesterday we had a first day of intervention and it was the largest group of kids for arrival and dismissal we've seen since March. And with all of these new protocols, we did notice some like issues with making sure the kids were staying the 6 feet in the small space and with the one-way hallways. So we have to put some new things into place as we do our next intervention group. So just please be flexible with us as we start kindergarten. This could all change. Like if we see that something didn't work and we weren't able to maintain the social distancing in a certain area, we may have to look at adjusting our arrival and dismissal. So this, I would say our arrival dismissal is very flexible. And it will probably be changing as more kids come back. So we'll make sure to communicate that as well. But it's all a learning curve, as you guys know.
We're going to do everything we can, to, you know, facilitate our students staying 6 feet apart. It's actually in the cafeteria when they're eating, they're about 10 feet or so. So we're very comfortable with the cafeteria and that piece of it. I, I think our biggest challenge is going to get them. They're going to want to socialize so badly after not seeing so many of their friends for so long. It's going to be getting them to respect the bubble. Um, but I think I'm glad we're easing into it and not just bringing everybody back at once, so we can do that in small chunks. We'll go over hand washing with the kids. There are breaks throughout the day, and then there's hand sanitizer in every single classroom. There's also auto dispensers that will be at all the entrances when they come in the building. And then they will also be then moved to the entrance to the cafeteria, the gym, still will be one by the main entrance, and then there'll be one down by the recess door for um, right by the K1 door 4 where they go out to recess. So there will be hand sanitizer dispensers in the hallways as well in those common areas.
I think too, that's something we've learned, have people coming in for testing and such. Some of our younger students have probably never used an automatic hand sanitizer machine. And so it's like sanitizer is going everywhere. So like that's something else we're going to be working on. Like there's lots of new procedures that you don't even think about until you have a kid try to do it. And it's like, oh, that has to be taught. So just keep that in mind too, if they come home with sanitizer on their sleeves or something.
If they smell like alcohol, it is hand sanitizer. We actually were able to secure additional donated supplies and materials. So we're going to be handing out to every single student, every student that comes in, and then virtually whoever would like it will probably organize a few days to do pickup. But we have a little drawstring backpack full of supplies that each student will get, so that our students that are coming in person will not have to bring their supplies back and forth. The supplies that they have at home now can stay home, and we'll have a whole set of supplies for each student when they come in. And that way, you know, the kids aren't bringing them back and forth and forgetting, and we're just not, it seems to be a hassle that we just don't need to send home to you guys to have to worry about. So we are going to maintain a full set of supplies for each student in the building and make those available to anybody that is virtual that either needs more supplies. Some grade levels already talked about doing a handout day, but there'll be more information coming out for that.
So yes, students do need to bring their computers back and forth every day.
Yeah, we did not, we got new computers, but we didn't get enough so that everybody have one at home and one in school. But we are actually going to teach the students how to, with wipes, wipe down their computers as well. So they won't be sharing them. They'll be the only one using them. But we also, every day before they leave, we're going to teach them how to wipe down their own computer before it even goes home to you.
There's the next slide too.
Yeah. We just finished we were able to get new laptops for all the 3rd and 4th graders through the CARES Act. So we just collected I think we have a few more to still collect, of the computers that the 3rd and 4th graders had, which are probably 2 to 4 years newer than what the 1st and 2nd graders have. So we just collected them all. We're going to go through them all, re-image them, wipe them clean, and then we're going to push those out to our 1st and 2nd graders so that they have better in kindergarten, so they have better machines as well. So we're going to work probably in the next month to get those re-imaged and then back out to our younger students, so they'll even have faster, newer computers. But that was a really nice gift. The new ones are really nice, and we're very fortunate to pick up think we got 253 new computers in the last 2 months, so.
Visitors is up.
Oh, visitors, yeah. Oh, I didn't even see you changed it. They all look the same. We should have color coded them. At this point, any visitor coming in will have to come in, sign in, and will probably be greeted in before you even come into the main office. It'll pretty much be by appointment only. The school system has kind of said, you know, we're going to still hold parents out of the building, volunteers out of the building. If there is a prior arranged situation, you know, we'll have to wear a face mask. We'll have to.
Oh, is this Wednesday?
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Thank gosh. Tomorrow night I have a
Oh, so, you know, we'll have to wear a face mask. They'll have to, there's the questionnaire that fills out, but visitor access is extremely, extremely limited and we're restricting that a lot because if all of a sudden we get too many people in the building, we can't contact trace. It just becomes impossible. Which if somebody does become sick in school, and there are our guidelines to send them home. Fever of 100, chills, cough, sore throat, you know, basically the flu, all those flu symptoms. You know, the COVID taste and smell, if they're nauseous, you know, diarrhea, pain, abdominal pain, they're not eating, you know, they're super congested and, you know, especially our younger ones they come out, we're not talking about they're fine, we go out to recess, it's a little cold, they come back in and they have a runny nose. But if they have a runny nose and a half hour after they've come in the building from being outside for recess, then we might, you know, be looking to address that a little bit. Or if they come in the morning and it's running all morning, we'll try to catch it and give you a call. Shortness of breath and that piece of it, you know, all those things are all symptoms. So this is basically a healthcare form or contract that you need to sign and insist saying, you know, as a community, we're all going to do our best to keep our kids home, keep them safe if they have a compromised immunity with a cold or the flu, and also not spread anything the other way either. So, and I will say, I am so thankful for our community because we have had a number.
Yeah, this is that form. It's a little different.
Oh,
It's
yes.
not
If your student gets sick, and they have COVID-like symptoms, this is a form that we're required to send home with them. And it needs the back part, I think it's the back or the bottom, the back needs to be signed by a doctor or nurse, RN, saying that, you know, they were either checked and determined, no, they don't have it, or tested and they don't have it. And we will let the health folks determine when the return date is. That's not they actually determine when a student can come back to school. If this gets sent home, I also go ahead and enter that into another database with the CDC that is set up through the Fairfax County Health Department, Fairfax County Public Schools, and the CDC as part of the contact tracing piece. And that's really what links all this back together. So, but this is a required form that if we do send them home sick, we'll be coming with them, and they have to have it signed by a doctor with a return date before when they come back. And we'll be following. Go ahead.
I was going to say they can fax that to the school. You can email it to the school, whatever is most convenient. Okay, sorry, now I got to get back. This Zoom is, I'm not used to Zoom. Okay, there you go.
Well, we are moving to Zoom over the summer.
I know, this is good practice. Oh, that's what we just talked about. Okay,
yeah,
sorry.
more illness stuff. So in the classroom, if there is a case in a classroom, it will be first we'll go through the contact tracing and through the conversation with the region and the health department, we will decide, you know, we need to, maybe that classroom, Mr. McRae's classroom needs to go virtual for 14 days. So just my class might go virtual for 14 days, which is no different than what they're doing right now. And then we can, you know, return back in. And for the schools that have been, you know, some of the schools around, a lot of the private schools, I mean, this is exactly what they're doing, and they're kind of treating it like the flu, where once there's a diagnosis, they take that group, go right back to virtual, and then after the required days, 14, I think it actually may even be 10 now. It's hard, I can't remember if it's 10 or 14, or that will be situationally based. The health department will let us know, and then they can come right back into in-person learning on their days. This is something we have not had to do yet, and you know, there's a high probability we will. So we'll just have to, it'll be a learning process for all of us.
We did it in preschool.
Oh, that's true. Preschool was a little bit easier. Just, we have 3 to 5 kids per class, so it wasn't as impactful, but yes, that's true. We did do this in preschool. Sorry.
I think this is the bonus of staying with your teacher.
Yes.
In the event this happens, nothing's changing other than you're not coming to the building.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a big thing for us when we really started looking at how do we make this work. And it was so much easier to just keep everybody with their teacher and find a way to not have kids having to deal with adults that they don't know in a very stressful time, and when anxiety will be high anyway. So response to 2 or more, again, 2 or more cases that are related is considered an outbreak. And then so we did have that in our preschool too, in which case anybody that was it didn't even close down the whole preschool, but it did, every group that was linked together did quarantine. However, when that happened, even for us, there was nobody else caught it other than the 2 people. It was 3 adults that actually kind of caught it from each other, and it did not spread to any kids or any adults that even were next to them, that while face masks and everything else were being used. So the mitigation steps definitely work, and you know, we're going to be watching that very closely. We've already actually had a number of conversations with our teachers. We, you know, all of our mental health and wellness folks are going to be back on the 16th. And, you know, if you have questions, concerns, you want to talk to them, you know, just even around emotional needs of your kiddos. I know it's getting tough. It's, I'm sure we can all, I feel it as an adult. We're coming up on almost a year of doing this. And it is very hard to sit here and talk to a computer screen for that long and not interact. And I'm sure kids, especially our older kids, junior high, high school, are really starting to feel it if they haven't had a chance to be back and see friends. And so if you feel like you, let us know. We will put you in contact with any of our folks, and they can help as much as they can. We've also linked this PowerPoint we can link and put it on the PTA site. So all these will be hot links for you. These are the videos that the county has open or posted for, you know, families, parents to watch, just so they kind of have an idea of what it might look like. And I think that's it. And I think we went through that much faster than the first time. So.
Let me show the last couple pictures I had. This is a kindergarten classroom. This again shows you an up close what a small group might look like, with the teacher and her shield and then the kids. Nobody would be sitting in this chair. I just didn't move it. And this is the technology setup, just so you guys know, for those of you who are either going to be virtual or in person. This camera right here That's the camera that will zoom and show the entire classroom. The picture is pretty phenomenal. And if you watch the sing-along video, that's what they used. Like they were all the way back in the back of the gym taping Chad and Sue and I. So you saw that it does do a pretty decent job of showing what's going on in the room. And then this here is like the monitor and then the extra laptop. So the teacher can see all of the kids are at home and all the kids that are in the classroom at the same time. Some of the things they're going to be working through is like the background noise, the feedback with 2 adults in the room. Those are all kind of things that we have to play with because we haven't had a chance to do it yet because nobody's been in the building. Sorry, this is sideways, but if you turn your head, that's what the hallway looks like. So these are all on the floor, 6 feet apart. All of our hallways are one way. So if you've been in the building, when you come in the main entrance, you always have to go to the right. And so you would go to the right down by the cafeteria, then they would go down the hallway by SAC, all the way around by the library and up by specials. That's a one-way hallway. So no matter what, if you're coming out of the cafeteria, if you're coming out of the office, if you're coming out of SAC, you always have to go that way. That maintains that one-way traffic. And then our primary K1 hallway, it's impossible to go one way. So once you get around, if there's a class in the hallway, you have to wait until that class passes before you can go down the hallway. So there's never more than one class transitioning at the same time.
And they all
Those are
walk down the
things
middle.
Yeah. And those are all things we're gonna have to work through with timing. Yesterday, a couple of our kindergarten friends were in the building and they were just working on walking 6 feet apart in the hallway in the right direction. And it took a really long time. So like those kind of things are just gonna take a while for kids to get used to. I think that's it. Yeah, and then the cafeteria. Okay. Questions? Oh, so yeah,
So
the
we
stairs to
got-
5th grade. Sorry, let me explain the stairs to 5th
Oh,
grade.
yeah.
So that they come out of the cafeteria and they go up the stairs closest to the cafeteria. And then to come down, they go down the stairs on the other side and have to walk all the way around to come to lunch. So if you've been in the building, that makes sense. If you haven't, it's a little harder. Do other people have questions? Amy, do you want to, I don't know if people are like sent questions or raising hands or anything. I'll stop sharing my screen.
We haven't really had any questions, we had a question about, do the computers go back and forth? And they do, you said. Somebody asked about hot lunch and there's no hot lunch right now. Is it all?
We're working on getting that changed. It's my goal to have hot lunch for our kids in person. The kids, when they pick it up outside for the pickup lunch, they can go home and put it in the microwave and warm it up, but we don't have that luxury for the kids in class. So we are working. I have the whole region, all of our principals are on this. It's our goal.
It's a county thing.
So
Yeah,
can they buy lunch, but it's just not hot?
it's free.
All lunch, all meals are free to anyone who needs it or wants one for the rest of this year.
Okay. What percentage of students are returning in person?
We're right about 50. Yeah, we're right around 50-50. It's been very interesting, but we're right around 50-50. We have, including preschool, we'll have about 235 kids on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And then we'll have about 180 or so on Thursdays and Fridays. A lot of the differences, we front loaded the siblings all together on Tuesday and Wednesdays. So that number is a little higher.
What's happening with AAP math and language arts for 3rd through 5th?
Cohorting is no longer a thing.
Yeah, so we can move kids around and as long as they're maintaining social distance when they move classrooms. So we'll be able to maintain we'll do a concurrent advanced math, all the AAP classes, those will all take place.
Okay. Is there a plan for individual school portraits this year?
There is. It's going to be coming out. Pictures will be at the beginning of March for our virtual. We're going to have a 1 day where our virtual kids can sign up and come in. There'll be multiple like photographers. We're going to do it before the bulk of the kids get in. Kindergarten will be in the building, but first, second, third, fourth, and fifth will not yet. So we're going to have a day where virtual kids can come in, get their picture taken. And then once our kids, in-person kids get back, we'll have a day where they can go through that process. That splits everything pretty evenly. As far as class pictures, it'll probably be more individual shots all together, because it'd be impossible to take a class picture without being really close. So
Yeah, I know there's a question here about a yearbook, and I think that Miss Eddie, is she the one who's been collecting pictures?
Miss Eddie or Miss Metz.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we're trying. I'm not, it's going to be a different yearbook, but we're going to have one.
We will be the letters for what days you're on will be coming out shortly. I think kindergarten. Did we send kindergarten yet? Maybe not. No, we did, because they were going to start the next day, and they got put on pause. So the kindergartners families, I think, have that. First and second, or third through five, 3 through 5, did not get those yet. So they'll be mailed out shortly here. Now that everything's pretty solidified, we're finalizing, making a couple changes. We did split a couple groups into 2 days. We just felt it was going to be easier, and so those will be mailed out pretty shortly. I think we have to lock them in by the end of next week, so for transportation and everything else. So at that point, we can send them all out because they'll be set.
Are the pictures with Life Touch this year?
Yep.
Yeah. Other questions? So
Somebody asked about classroom
yeah, I was
monitors.
gonna say, we still don't have everybody yet, right?
But we're going
No.
to a job fair.
On Friday afternoon. So
Keep your fingers crossed.
might try to hire a few extras. Since we're starting so late, the money will go longer. So if we can find a couple good people, we might grab a few extra good people. Figure out
So
how.
people in the community are great classroom monitors. So
That's true. If
no
anybody's ready
friend,
to get out of their house, and
just ask Miss Mahoney.
that's right.
I already have a job.
I know.
That's You do.
Uh-huh. It's been fun.
I think we've got you locked in pretty much right till October of next year.
One way or another.
Yes, one way or the other. I can't think. I mean, we're really excited. The kids, just seeing the kids over the last couple of weeks, it does get, and even for the computer handout, it was there's really a boost of energy, and it kind of is a renewal of purpose when you don't see them after a while. It felt so good to just say hi and see you could see their smiles through their mask. It was pretty cool. So can't wait for them to get back in the building.
Yeah, and I'll say too, with the kids that have come in, I think a lot of the fears we had at the beginning of the year about masks and, it's going to be so weird. They have to sit 6 feet apart, and, kids are so resilient. I mean, they're so excited to be in the building. It's just the energy and the, even if they're sitting in the cafeteria 6 feet from there, they're still talking, having a grand old time. Like, to them, they're just like, okay, there's people. And so it gave us all energy. So we're really, really excited to have everybody back.
Most of the staff, I think, has been able to get at least their first shot at this point. I would say a number or even have their second vaccine shot. So we're very fortunate and thankful that, the Fairfax County was able to do that. I think it has definitely alleviated some fears for some folks. That I know for sure. So I know Ms. Malkowski has had her second. I still need to get my second. But you know, we've been in the building pretty much every day since last March in some capacity, and we were talking. We feel it's very comfortable there, and it's amazing how many times we wash our hands or do hand sanitizer throughout the day. But we feel, you know, it's a safe place to be.
And FLE, there's a question about FLE. We do have to teach FLE. We've avoided it as long as possible, but it is required. So it will be taught this year.
Yeah,
Probably right before spring break, if we're being
I was
honest.
just gonna say, yeah, probably right before spring break. We'll give them the birds and the bees and send them home to you. Right before spring break when the flowers are blooming. Hmm. Let me tell you, I have a
That was a
newfound.
huge success. I thought it was a disaster at first, but then it got better.
I have a newfound appreciation for anybody that sings and dances for 2 hours in a concert, because I was out of breath. 90% of that, I was like, "Oh my God, please, can we have a timeout?" But it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah,
We do want
we
to
need to plan something else. We haven't yet. We need to.
Yeah, we are going to plan. Actually, I think we had originally said we could do one before spring break and one at the end of the year too. So we'll plan a few more fun things for the kids. Maybe we can get some kids involved, since we'll have kids back in the building and that piece of it.
And we're definitely going to honor our fifth graders. We just don't know how
Yes.
yet, but we're definitely going to honor them. I know the school board mentioned they're going to start planning for graduations. And so I think as those plans start to roll out, we'll get a little more guidance on what we can do as a school.
Yeah, and if we could trust the weather, we could even try to do it outside. We have a huge field, but it would just be a matter of hoping it was sunny. But we're going to find a way to do that for sure.
And keep in mind, as a PTA, we have some budgeted funds for fifth grade celebration since there's no field trip.
Oh, that would be good.
I was just going to say that.
Hi, sorry. Thank you for the patience earlier. I had technical difficulties. Do we have any other questions? Oh, let's see. What about AAP and advanced math with the virtual kids? What are they going to do?
They would just stay in. They'll jump into the link that they've always used, and they'll be right into that group with those kids concurrently, just like if they were in their own class.
All right. And when are we going to find out if our child's teacher is teaching from home or the classroom?
We have Miss
We already
Sahadio.
know.
Yeah, Miss Sahadio is teaching from home. Miss Nealon is teaching from home. Miss Gibbons, though, will be in her classroom in school, so they've been co-teaching all year. So there's Miss Fawcett is teamed up with Miss Borelli. No, Miss Nelson. And so those two are co-teaching together. So Miss Nelson will handle all those students in either class in person, and they'll co-teach while so they'll be doing the same thing. Miss Fawcett, though, will be monitoring and working with the virtual kids, keeping them on task. So it'll be two teachers for a total of, I think it's only 31 kids in either one of those groups. Plus their IAs or special ed teachers in and out of there. So those groups will be relatively small. And then Miss Mallon and Miss Borelli are doing the same thing in first grade with 4 teachers. It was really easy to do. Our two, outside of that, every other teacher is coming back into the building. And then we have Miss Cruzy, who is, I think it's public knowledge, isn't it, at this point, is having a baby.
It is now.
It is now.
Facebook, so
But her doctor has recommended that she stay home. So we are we're going to be looking for a monitor to help with her class, and we'll be getting our own staff in there. She confirmed it's official. Okay.
Okay.
It's on Facebook, so.
I'm glad Chad didn't just announce for her.
I know. That would be something I probably
First
would.
boss
do.
ever.
But so we're gonna do what we can to facilitate that, and
She also co-teaches though, so Miss Danholter, Miss Adcock will be in the room as
Right.
well.
so, but we are going to try to find another monitor also to continue to help in there as well. So we'll have it covered one way or the other. So
For anybody who has kids who go with Miss Jenkins, they will still be virtual.
they will
Yeah.
still those groups will be virtual, right?
Because I think what you're going to see if your kids are attending in person, this is a big reason to have to bring their laptop. Like Miss Jenkins groups are 100% virtual. So those kids will always log in on their computer and do that group with her virtual, which is Miss Mahoney right now. So she's her long-term sub. So like that, then like music, Mr. Kimball, he's teaching music from home, but we have a monitor who's in the room to help support the kids in the classroom. So if the teacher's not there, there's still an adult that's helping with the supporting in the class.
A familiar adult. We're trying to get our monitors in with those classes and groups ahead of a week or two ahead of time, so that the kids get to know them and they get to know the routines and learn the technology and everything else. Strings and band will continue. If they'll start to do concurrent groups for strings and band. And I thought I saw a question. I gotta find, there was another question I think I missed in there. Yeah, oh, absolutely. We'll have the next PTA meeting for sure. We'll give you guys some updates. That would be very smart. Maybe we'll even we'll have more pictures to share. I think that says a lot.
Kids.
Pictures with kids, yes. Not empty chairs. So, but again, thank you again for everybody's support. I mean, it's been, our kids are really, we are starting to get some of our mid-year data in just from some of the assessments that we do. And we were expecting a really large fall off. And, you know, we have some gaps that we need to work on, but all in all, the data has, I almost fell out of my chair when I first saw it, because of in a good way. I mean, our kids they're crushing it. They did so well on some of our mid-year assessments, and they're almost all showing growth, and it's just it was great to see, and it was a real tribute to not only, you know, their hard work and your encouragement at home and what all the stuff the teachers are doing. It really kind of it was a warm and fuzzy moment at school the other day when we started really diving into some of the data and where kids are at. So it's working. Maybe not ideal, but it's working. So.
All right, does anyone else have any other questions? We have a little bit of PTA business, but if you're not interested in that, you can head out.
We would appreciate it though if people stay on.
Oh yeah, I think we need at least 10 people, right, to pass the treasurer's report from last month.
Can I rephrase my question about virtual AAP and advanced math? You said there's no more cohorts, and you said that they might be switching classrooms. So does that, and they have to walk one way around the school. So does that mean there's a 10 or 20-minute gap for those kids who are who are at home? Because if we're not in school and they have to leave to get to the other classroom, that leaves my kids at home sitting here waiting for the rest of the class to get there.
So it would be it'd be in a single third grade room and a fourth grade room and a fifth grade room respectively. So they wouldn't be leaving their hallway. The third and fourth grade hallway is a one-way hallway. And then upstairs, fifth grade is, again, they can walk down the hall and loop around. The one-way piece is really for classes and for when they're walking in big mass to recess, to the specials, to cafeteria. That's really the purpose of getting them cycling through that way. When they're in the 3rd and 4th grade hall and they're just changing rooms like they normally do or upstairs, that'll still happen. Now we're not there. We're going to have downtime as it is, so we don't want to create more downtime. Absolutely not. No. That group will have to go out, social distance down the hall and into the next room or whichever room across the hall they're using, but they certainly don't have to go down, around, back up and to the room. And we have to have a little common sense with that whole thing. Yeah, completely.
I think too, something to add to that, just to mention about students who are virtual and students who are in person. That's a big reason we're doing specials in the classroom. The specialist teachers are coming to the room except PE because we don't want the virtual students to be waiting for the 10-minute transition of specials. So we're really trying to like eliminate a lot of that as much as possible. You know, my vision would be like the teacher would have a warm-up problem up while the kids are transitioning. So there's something to do prior to them starting their focus lesson. So those are all kind of like hiccups we'll have to work through as we start, but that's kind of like, those are the things that the teachers are thinking of. We don't ever want the virtual students to feel like they're being slighted or that they're not getting the same level of instruction as our students are in person. But there are some protocols that we have to do that are going to take time. So it's really about providing those students at home an activity to make sure they're engaged while we're doing protocols in the building. If that makes sense.
It's perfectly said.
All right, last call for questions. Going once, going twice. Okay, thank you so much, Chad and Leslie. Obviously, we'll forward any other questions that we get on toward you. Amy, do you want to
Sure.
the
I'll
treasury?
share, yep, I'll share the treasurer's report. This is for last month. Our income last month was basically for membership and then also donations. So we had very little income. I think it was $62.50, you can see here, plus the $40 for donations. So a grand whopping $102.50 if I did my math right. We know what all of the money for grants has gone out. And we actually came in under what we anticipated because 4th grade books ended up being lower than what was originally asked. So our grand total for grants ended up being $2,180 instead of $2,823. And yeah, that's it. Like I mentioned earlier, we are going to be putting back out the request for grants for spring grants. Right, Vanessa?
Yes, and I was thinking that we'll give them enough time to get into the teaching for a couple weeks or a few weeks so they know if there's something that they want or need for the new concurrent structure. So I'll send you all the paperwork and everything to send out to your staff. Was there?
Perfect.
Oh,
I was muted. I said perfect.
oh, okay. Thanks. So I don't remember, do we need to approve these treasury? We don't have minutes because our secretary isn't here from the last meeting. So do we need to approve the treasury report? The treasury report?
No, because it's just a report, and we've already approved the budget.
Okay, great. So
There is a question though, however, in the chats about additional restaurant nights.
I don't know. Michelle Harder's been putting those all together. I think she's left, so I don't know. But we'll let everybody know through emails and the News You Choose and Facebook group.
We do have every Thursday night though. We do have Papa John's 40% off, and you get proceeds go to PTA.
Yep, we had a check come in for $40 from that. And then we had 90 something from Chipotle.
Nice. Okay. So Ken, you had said earlier you didn't have anything, and Dan, you said you didn't have anything. Jen, do you have anything from membership?
No, no, I was going to happily share just the results from the survey, but it's too late and I'll save that for another time.
Okay, well, we'll have our next meeting in early March. And thanks everyone for coming. Really appreciate it. And thank you so much, Chad and Leslie, for all your, I'm sure this has been a nightmare logistically, and we thank you for not quitting, giving up.
Oh, it's just Groundhog Day. I mean, I think this is going to be it, but 5 times is a charm. But we're
I
going to
think
get
it's really
there.
going to happen this time. The governor wants it to happen. The president wants it to happen. I think it's going to happen.
I think we might have a shot. So.
We're ready.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
All
I
right. Have a good night.